Hi, I'm going to show you how to lay out your fabric and to cut out your pattern so that we're ready for our next session. So first you're going to take your fabric that you bought. I believe you're getting 3 yards of fabric. That'll be plenty that you need. And you're going to take your fabric home. You're going to wash it and dry it. And if it's really wrinkly, then you'll need to press it too. But so I'm ready to lay out the pattern. Now I have the pattern here. You're going to be doing the pajama pants. Now inside the pattern you'll find pattern instruction sheets. And it has the line drawings, and inside there it shows you the pattern pieces here, and then it also shows you how to lay out the pattern on the fabric, and that's what we're going to be doing. The one important thing is you must lay your pattern straight on the fabric. And I'm sure that we talked a little bit about grain. There's a grain in the fabric, kind of like wood. You have fabric fibers going this way, and they weave them together. And so the ones that go straight across the fabric are strong. So we need to lay our pattern out along that straight grain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to get the fabric ready first. So to get the fabric ready, you're going to fold it so that you have the selvages. Remember, the selvage is that finished edge. This is the raw edge here. Whoops, let me get over here so you can see. This is the raw edge here. You see it's fraying. This edge here, all along the length of the fabric, it's called the selvage. It usually has words on it, or it could have a white area, but that's the finished edge. So we want to put those together, line them up, and then shake your fabric so that it's straight. If you had some lines, let me see if I can get some lines here, some crooked lines. If you had crooked lines like that, that's not good. So you just walk your fingers down. See, I still have wrinkles and crooked lines there, and I'm going to keep walking it over until I get it straight. So it's hanging straight. I'm holding the selvage edges together, and it's hanging straight. So once I get that, I'm going to lay it down on the table and straighten it out all the way down. Now 3 yards is a lot of fabric, so just pull the end up and fold it up at the other end of the table. You're just going to be working on this part here. Smooth it all out, make sure you don't have any wrinkles. Now I want to show you that the line parallel to the selvage edge is the straight of grain. That's a really important term, straight of grain. It runs the whole length of the fabric, your whole 3 yards, straight of grain. If you look closely, you can see threads that go side to side and up and down. So that side to side is the straight of grain. So now I'm going to grab my pattern, and on my pattern, underneath where you see all the line drawings, so you have to open it up, underneath there it has, each piece is laid out for you. It's drawn out, and you'll find the pants. In this case, I'm not sure if it's in your pattern this way. This is a different pattern, but pants are E. So underneath pants, it will tell you that we have a front, a back, and a tie for the pants. We're just doing the front and the back. So I need pieces number 11 and 12 according to this pattern. So as you can see, we have the pants here, 11 and 12, and that's the pattern pieces that I need. So all I need to do is go to my tissue And I need to find pieces 11 and 12. So I open up one of the tissues and, oh, it's right here. So I have piece 11 and piece 12. They're stuck together. They're on one sheet. So what I need to do is I need to get that apart. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to cut roughly. You don't have to cut on the lines. Don't cut through the lines, but I just want to carefully, that one's close. I'm going to cut it out away from each other. I don't need the tie, so I set that aside. And then my 11 and 12, I just want to separate them, being careful not to cut through. Cut, cut, cut. All right. And the rest of the pieces I don't need because this is the robe and there was a shirt inside, so that can be for later. So now I have my two pieces. That's the nice thing about pajama pants. There's only two pieces that you need. So now I'm going to lay them out on my fabric. So I take my piece of tissue and I want to smooth it out as best I can. If it was all crumbled up and wrinkly, you can press these with the iron. Just use a dry iron and it should press just fine. So I'm going to just smooth it out. Now notice on the pattern, and this is true of every pattern piece that you'll ever use, there's a line here on this pattern and it has a little arrow at the end, and sometimes it has arrows at both ends. But this line, it's labeled and it says grain line. So this is my all-important grain line. So I'm going to lay that on the fabric. Now how do I know it's straight on the fabric? I need to have it parallel with that selvage edge. And I know that the fold is parallel to the selvage edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my ruler onto the fold of the fabric. And it doesn't matter what number you use. I'm just using a line on the ruler to help me straighten the pattern on the grain. So I've lined up my fabric on this line of my ruler. I can see right through. It's a gridded ruler. And then I'm going to take any one of the lines and I'm going to move the tissue until I get my grain line from the tissue, that line that's on the pattern, on one of the lines of the ruler. So now I have that straight on that line. So now I'm going to freeze that in place by putting in a pin. So let's put a pin right there to hold that number in place, that space. So now to make it parallel, I'm going to remember my numbers. I happen to have mine on 2 and 9, but it doesn't matter the numbers, but I want to keep them the same. So I'm going to move this down and I'm going to put that fold on my same number that I used, and then I'm going to move the tissue up so that it's on the line that I used down here. So now I know that my line of my pattern is perfectly parallel to my fold line. And I'm going to freeze that in place by putting in a pin. There we have it. So now my line on my pattern is perfectly straight on my fabric. Now I'm ready to cut it out. So to cut it out, I'm just going to put pins all the way around. Make sure your pins are inside your cutting line. And notice also that this is a multi-sized pattern, so you have to find your size and follow that line of the pattern. That's what you're going to be cutting. And if there's any little funny little jog out at the shorts line where you cut off for shorts, just go straight. Just go straight through. And that's all there is to cutting out your fabric. And you're going to just pin all the way around. And that's all there is to it. And then cut that out. And then you're going to do the same thing with your other pattern piece down here on the fabric. So you'll straighten out your fabric, you'll get your lines parallel to the fold, and then you'll be ready to cut out again. So make sure to email me if you have any questions, and I'll see you in November.